If you watch cartoons like all of us here at Frederator, you may have slipped into a daydream or two about unlikely characters somehow colliding. And if you've been lucky enough to have that daydream come true, you screamed and then called your best friend, who didn't care and wished you had waited till morning to call them. But we care, and today at Channel Frederator we're counting down the 8 most epic, unexpected times cartoons referenced other cartoons. My name is Tim and I'll be guiding you through this world-breaching experience. Let's get started.
Number 8. Cartman and Bart team up to bring Family Guy down. Regardless of how you feel about Family Guy, South Park's 2-episode-long bashing of the show was pretty epic, and its humor shone best when it used characters' criticisms of Family Guy to parody itself. The manatees comprising the writing staff and their rigid ethics about censorship was an absolute masterstroke in not-so-friendly ribbing. And to make the most of the situation, they dragged Bart Simpson into the anti-Family Guy camp as a kind of Cartman protege. The South Park writers obviously had a blast allowing Bart to drop the F-bomb, which is something you might not know you wanted to see until it actually happens. That being said, the South Park team took aim at the Simpsons too. We like to think of Bart and Cartman as bad boys with a certain crafty intelligence, but comparing their misdeeds together leaves no competition. Bart's the rebellious kid who once cut the head off a statue to impress some other kids. Cartman fed a kid his own parents in chili form. A lot of people like to compare these shows, and this saga highlights how different they are. Also, it's important to note that this isn't the only time South Park referenced The Simpsons. Butters as Professor Chaos struggled to wow the world with an evil scheme, only to find that everything he could think of had already been done by The Simpsons, which gave the world the phrase, Simpsons did it. Number 7. Steven Spielberg meets his animated creations. The Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, and Freakazoid all existed together, sort of. The shows all originated in the same space and were spun off from each other, and all of them were put together with Steven Spielberg at the helm. But they all had separate identities, until the one day that Wacko, Freakazoid, and the Brain all meet. But it turns out they can't agree on which is Steven's favorite cartoon, so they go and ask the man himself. Yep, they interrupt their show to go ask their creator which one is best. For my money, it's Freakazoid, but we're not getting into that right now. So, after they duke it out, Spielberg gives his answer. Who are you people? And with that, the show returns to its plot, business as usual, with 3 beloved characters scarred for life by the existential crisis of knowing their creator cares nothing for them. Hooray! Number 6. Dexter's off to the races in the episode Mach 5. I hope this reference will make people laugh because it is very important for me to reference things and have those references be liked by people. If only my long-lost brother could be here to see me make this reference. Dexter's Lab had no problem referencing other media, from its fake superheroes and movie stars to its plot lines. There was a lot here, but perhaps no reference was more blow-for-blow perfect than their Speed Racer parody. Everything is just so on. The lips are desynchronized to make it look dubbed, and the animation is choppy, which isn't a knock at Dexter's Lab's animation. They purposefully made the animation choppy in the style of Speed Racer. The ridiculousness of Racer X, Spritle, and Chim Chim is highlighted, but they don't call special attention to how stupid it is. They just embrace it and let it stand on its own. I think that's what sets a good reference or parody apart from a great one. It's clear that the team working on the episode loved the original Speed Racer. It highlights all the flaws, sure, but not in a mean-spirited way. It's reverent and wonderful, and if you've never seen it before, you should totally check it out. Number 5. Bender and Jake meet in Futurama. This reference lasts all of 8 seconds, but boy did it make legions of animation fans happy. When Bender and Fry go to rescue Leela from Mom's giant genetic mutations lab in the sky, Bender finds that Mom's been keeping some surprising prisoners. Finn the human and Jake the dog, for one. Besides the power of sheer surprise, the lightning-fast cameo happens about 2/3 into the episode. Also, we should clarify at this point that the production of the 2 shows is in no way affiliated. Bender and Jake's exchange is particularly amusing because, if you didn't know, they're voiced by the same actor, John DiMaggio. Of course, the appearance inspires an avalanche of questions. Do Adventure Time and Futurama exist in the same universe? How the heck did Finn and Jake cross paths with Mom? Are they somehow tied to her genetic experiments? But that would be reading too far into it. Fortunately, this is the internet, and reading way too much into things is standard MO here. It could be that Finn and Jake are some kind of immortal genetic elite created by Mom. Perhaps they were designed to be super soldiers, but the Great Mushroom War came and went before they could get their chance at fighting. They lay dormant for years until life began anew, at which point they rose to be heroes. That whole Catalyst Comet thing could just be an illusion created by being dormant for so long. Oh snap, I bet you weren't expecting sudden dose of cartoon conspiracy up in here. What? I give my own made-up conspiracy theory 5 out of 5 John DiMaggio's. Number 4, Sterling Archer's burger-themed Amnesia. Speaking of crossovers inspired by voice actors, perhaps the sequence that most disturbed everyone's sense of cartoon reality was when Archer got amnesia and just slipped into being Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers. Like the Jake Bender thing, H. John Benjamin provides the voice of both Archer and Bob. So when you first saw Archer with a mustache and apron, you can almost forget which show you're watching, despite the difference in art styles. It's unsettling in its own way. But before you can think too much about it, some Russian goons show up and it's back to full-fledged spy mode. It's a cartoon version of The Long Kiss Goodnight. The fact that we get to see the rest of the Belcher family animated this way is just an added bonus, although the kids never speak, much to my dismay. Anytime Kirsten Shaw graces the world with her voice, it's a treasure. This scene is a fantastic cameo that does everything we need it to do without overstaying its welcome. Number 3, Action Johnny, Ruined Boy Adventurer from the Venture Brothers. Even though the Venture Brothers takes clear inspiration from Johnny Quest, I don't think anyone expected creators Jackson Public and Doc Hammer to actually place Johnny into the Venture's path until there he is, full-grown adult strung out in his underwear. Okay, his name isn't Johnny Quest, it's Action Johnny, but we all know who it is. The fact that a show inspired by the boy adventurers of old now has honest-to-goodness Johnny Quest as a character breaks all kinds of supposed rules. But the real masterstroke here is that adult version of Action Johnny is addled and disturbed as a result of his childhood adventuring. He's a drug addict and has some profound father issues that he really should see someone about. He's not the only adventurer to make an appearance in the lives of the Venture Bros. It turns out Fred has kidnapped the rest of the cast of Scooby-Doo and forced them to continue looking for mysteries. Makes you worry about Hank and Dean as adults, but they're well adjusted, right? Either way, this twisted portrait of an innocent cartoon classic showcases the Venture Brothers at their best. Number 2, Rick and Morty Kill the Simpsons. The Simpsons are such a strong cultural icon that it's no surprise they would wind up on this list multiple times. Ever since it premiered 2.5 years ago, Rick and Morty catapulted into instant classic territory. And so I think I can speak for everyone when I say that Matt Groening allowing Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon to write a Simpsons couch gag was a favor to all humanity. And Harmon and Roiland didn't go light on us. This has the distinction of being the longest couch gag in Simpsons history, clocking in at a whopping 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Everything about it is pitch perfect, and Rick and Morty's cultural awareness makes everything better. Plus, the way Rick loots the Simpsons household is crossover gold. We get to watch him try Duff beer, try on Marge's jewelry, and squawk on Lisa's saxophone, all while Morty has to regenerate the Simpsons in the most sketchy, disgusting way possible. Unfortunately, the new Simpsons aren't as delighted by the situation as we are. And number 1, Donald and Daffy's piano duel. Okay, so maybe it's a cheap trick to grace our list with a scene from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the ultimate breeding ground for unexpected cartoon references. But as much as everyone talks about Roger Rabbit as When Bugs Meets Mickey, the real money shot is the piano duel between Donald and Daffy in the Ink and Paint Club. As foul-tempered as these ducks are, there's no way they could share the stage without disastrous results. And as Marvin Acme tells us, they never finish the act. The sequence is a perfect snapshot of two classic characters, and the pot shots and cannon shots they take at each other are brilliant, including my personal favorite, this is the last time I ever work with someone with a speech impediment. Enough about Bugs and Mickey, this was the meeting with golden potential, and it delivered.
Thanks for watching Tooned Up's top 8 cartoon references to other cartoons. Did we leave out your favorite cartoon collision? Tell us in the comments, because, 8's a pretty small number, and there are lots of cartoons out there. And feel free to check out some of our other fine offerings while you're at it. And remember, Frederator loves you.